Hello everyone, welcome to First Year Teaching Tips. This video series is dedicated to helping any teacher who is in their first year of teaching or in their first year in a new role. Veteran teachers are welcome as well. With that being said, let's begin. So who am I? My name is Mia, and I am, as of the recording of this video, an 11-year veteran in education. I worked as a high school social science teacher in public and private schools, and currently work as an instructional technology specialist in a public district. When I began teaching, the landscape of education looked very different. However, I have found that there are some tips, tricks, and other bits of information I wish I had known when starting my career. Some of this advice comes from my own experiences, and some of it comes from what others have taught me. So let's dive into this video's tips about field trips. COVID-19 has had a profound impact on school activities. The tips in this video are based on my own personal experience of planning and executing a field trip for students prior to the spread of this virus. I planned a field trip for the entire freshman class of a private high school to visit the Illinois Holocaust Museum and Education Center. There were only around 100 students in this class since it was a private school, so please keep that in mind when I describe my experiences. There are many alternatives to live field trips that can be used as classroom enrichment activities. However, if you plan on completing a field trip in a physical location separate from the school, I hope these tips help. Tip number 1, plan far ahead. When planning a field trip, be sure to consider when the field trip will take place. I recommend having at least a 3-month buffer between the field trip and when you first start planning. This time will allow you to investigate all variables with the event and prepare accordingly. Tip number 2, follow all school rules about field trips. Each district or school may have its own rules about the number of chaperones a field trip requires, as well as the hours a field trip may take place. Be sure to review with your students the expectations for attending the field trip. Will they be required to wear a school uniform or follow specific school dress codes? Depending on the grade level, you may want to emphasize that the students are representing the school when they visit the site. Tip number 3, make certain the trip takes place during the school year when the strongest curricular connection occurs. During my graduate program, I completed a research project about the effectiveness of field trips for students. In the findings, a few items became clear. Students need to be prepared for the field trip by being introduced to the topic before they go on the trip. Students also need a follow-up reflection activity in order to fully engage with the material. As such, when planning a field trip, it is key to make certain that it takes place when your curriculum covers the necessary topics. Much like in the classroom, just as a topic needs to be introduced, taught, and assessed, so too does a field trip. Tip number 4, make certain to follow all rules of the field trip site. When I took my students to the Illinois Holocaust Museum and Education Center, it specifically listed that students had to have brown bag lunches. Reusable lunch boxes were not to be brought into the museum. As such, I made certain to share this information with the parents and students multiple times. Consider the current cultural climate to be sure to review the expectations of a field trip site. Will there be storage on site for students? Will students be expected to stay out of certain areas? Having the answers to these questions ahead of time will save you from experiencing stress. Tip number 5, plan on needing more buses, more chaperones, and that something will go wrong. This tip especially pulls on my personal experiences with the field trip I planned and implemented prior to the recording of this video. I thought I had calculated enough seats for everyone in the field trip to take the bus, but I had only counted the students, not the chaperones. I reached out to multiple parents who said they could chaperone, and then a few were unable to do so. Take all chaperones as needed so you have enough adults to manage your students. Finally, something will most likely go wrong on the field trip. One bus experienced mechanical issues on the drive to the museum. The bus was able to drop the students off, but the driver had to take the bus back to the bus depot and drive to the site with a new one. Do your best to remember you are responsible for what you can control. In the end, the parents and students shared that they were grateful for the experience, which is what matters the most. Thank you for watching this video. If you are interested in learning more, please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also go to my website, www.guidegrowtech.com, for even more information on a variety of topics. Finally, I hope this video helped you grow in your knowledge of this topic. Take care.